Blake, great to see you once again.
Always great to see you, Mike.
President Biden's American Rescue Plan is law. Can you give us maybe an update on it, including the outcome of the minimum wage?
Well, I've got good news and bad news. We'll start with the good news.
Okay.
Is the minimum wage did not get built in. The Senate did away with that, but it'll probably come back. The bad news is it's $1.9 trillion. So, with 6 different rescue packages, we're at about $6 trillion of spending. Now, I'm all for some of it, but this one is full of pork. And there's a few good things in it, but there's just, hundreds of billions of dollars of pork.
Speaking of pork, I did see when this was announced, a couple of pigs fly by, so maybe that's the pork bit. Look, the OECD projects the US economy will grow by around about 6.5% this year. This would be the highest rate of growth for some time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but with statistics, when you're coming off a low year, it's easier to pop your growth rate. We're hopeful that it will be that high. And I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. We've been shuttered. We're starting to open up the economy, and there's a lot of pent-up demand. So I think we will have a very strong year.
This is the 6th major COVID-19 relief bill Congress has authorized in a year, and a sum of emergency spending up to around about $5 trillion. That's US dollars, which is real money. Do you think this will limit the administration's ability to properly address tax reform?
Well, I think it handcuffs them on a lot of levels, and it's not going to bode well for the value of the dollar or inflation down the road. But I think they've painted themselves into a corner with this. And as I said earlier, it's there's definitely some good relief for certain businesses and individuals that was needed, but they just tacked on so many different things, and I can go through those with you if you like.
Yep, if you wouldn't mind.
I have to go to notes because this is hundreds of pages of a bill. But $300 million for migrant and refugee assistance. Right. $20 billion to the United States Postal Service. And I cannot tell you. I mean, I defend the Postal Service because you can get a stamp from putting a 55-cent stamp on and go from coast to coast. It's a good deal, but half of my mail doesn't arrive now. And after saying that, none of my mail may arrive. $300,000 for the Endowment of the Arts. We can't really be going to those kind of events right now anyway. So $30 billion for the Department of Education.
Which no one goes to school. No one goes to school. So
yeah, and most of that's not going to go to teachers. It's going to be admin.
Excellent.
Again, $500 million to museums and libraries. People aren't going there right now. This is a great one. $720 million to Social Security Administration, but only $200,000 is really going to go to the beneficiaries. Most of it's for admin costs. $25 million for cleaning supplies for the Capitol building. This is another one you'll love. $25 million for additional salaries for the House of Representatives. $315 million for the State Department diplomatic programs, which really don't do a whole lot. $95 million for the Agency of International Development. $300 million for international disaster assistance. Emphasis on international stuff there. I think charity begins at home right now. $9 million for miscellaneous Senate expenses. The House got a lot more than the Senate, which is interesting. $1 billion for the airlines recycle and save program. Don't you think the airlines should be paying for that? Mm-hmm. 2.5 million. This one's actually, I'm offended because it's so low. 2.5 million for public and Indian housing. That's not going to go anywhere. I mean, that's nothing. That's just insulting that that's all they would give that group. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
But a lot of pork barreling there. The actual I see the issue being not just the pork barreling, not just the excessive spending. It has to be paid back. And you mentioned last week about inflation. How will the US come out of this? I mean, if you've got high inflation, high cost of living, and this social do-good program from the Biden administration, go forward, say maybe 2 years. Where do you think you'll be?
Well, I would just refer you back to the Carter years, where we had, stagflation, high inflation. I bought my first home in was a townhouse, and I paid $75,000, so the mortgage wasn't too bad. But that mortgage, I took it out at 12.5%, which was a good rate at that point. It climbed to 19.5.
Oh.
I mean, you had overnight deposits, interest rates on overnight deposits of over 20%. It was brutal, and we had high, very high, because we had the OPEC situation on fuel, I mean, look at oil prices and gas prices. They're just through the roof. For the very short term, this is going to put a lot of money into the economy. I heard earlier today they're guessing that up to about a third of the $1,400 payments going to individuals will end up in the stock market. So the stock market's been on fire this week over here. So there'll be some short-term benefits, I think, but long-term, I'm not so optimistic.
By the way, if somebody wants to find out more about tax, how will they do that?
HCVT.com, or just Google Blake Christian CPA.
Media hound, Blake Christian, thank you very much.
Always good.